Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Bad here. Hope you're doing well. So we had a new monster movie come out this weekend. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. Now this goes along with the monsterverse that started 10 years ago in 2014 with Godzilla. And then we got Godzilla King of the Monsters, Kong Skull Island. And then in 2021 we got Godzilla vs. Kong, which actually ended up being actually a pretty good movie. And now 3 years later we got Godzilla X Kong. We got Rebecca Hall returning here, Brian Tyree Henry. We have a newcomer, Dan Stevens, joins the film, working again with Adam Wingard, Dan Stevens and Adam Wingard did the film The Guest. I think that was like 2016, 2017. Really good movie. If you haven't seen that film, I highly recommend it. So it's nice to see them working together again. And so yeah, I was on the fence. Do I want to see this movie? Do I not want to see it? Do I want to go see Ghostbusters, the new one that came out last weekend? And I ended up going to see, obviously, Godzilla X Kong instead. Mainly because, you got Godzilla and King Kong on the big screen. You kind of have to go to the movie theater to see Godzilla and Kong on the big screen. And surround sound, come on, why not? So let's get into it. Positives. In terms of the human characters, I like Rebecca Hall and her adopted daughter that we saw in the last movie, and their connection, their relationship build in this film. I think Rebecca Hall is one of the most underrated actresses working today, and so I like to see her in this movie. But I did like that relationship between mother and adopted daughter. I thought it worked well. Dan Stevens is a hoot in this movie. He really brings out that fun side of his character. He's a veterinarian. He likes to listen to a lot of almost 80s music when he's working. Also, this movie has a little bit of a synthetic, like a sci-fi music to it, like a score, like an 80s I don't even know how to describe it. If you've seen the movie The Guest and that music in that film, and it was actually very similar. So I don't know if there was that connection between, because it was also Dan Stevens, who was also in The Guest with director Adam Wingard, but the music was very similar. But anyway, Dan Stevens is hilarious. He's fun. He's funny. He brings a lot of energy to the movie. I really enjoyed him in this. Also, Brian Tyree Henry. He was also in the last movie. He returns. He's a podcaster. Like me. And so he's doing a podcast. He gets dragged along while he's also doing podcasting and documenting what he's seeing in Hollow Earth. So he brought some humor to the film. So I actually did it, and I liked how they kept the human characters small. There's not a bunch of them. Like in Godzilla King of the Monsters, where there were way too many human characters. Or even Kong Skull Island. And can we just limit it to 2 or 3 people and call it a day? We're here to see Godzilla and Kong. In terms of also Kong, this is more of a Kong movie than it is a Godzilla and Kong movie. There is a lot more of King Kong in this movie. In fact, I would almost say the movie is really King Kong's film. It's his art, his story. We spent a lot more time with King Kong than Godzilla. And I enjoy Kong. They give him a lot more human personality traits, which is not different than what we saw in the Peter Jackson remake of King Kong, where Kong had a lot of human traits also. And I enjoyed watching King Kong in this. He has an interesting story in this one. And, I'm more of a King Kong fan anyway, So, more gorilla, the better. This also has some good action scenes, with Kong and the villain. I think it's Scar King. I like those. The scene with Godzilla and Kong fighting, that was cool. The end fight scene was good. There's not as much action as I thought there was going to be, but what we do get, it looks good. The visuals look good. I mean, the visual cinematography in Hollow Earth look great. Like I said, the movie has a lot of humor, mainly between Dan Stevens and Brian Tyree Henry, which I really enjoyed. Also, Kong has some funny moments with his more human traits. The soundtrack has like an 80s soundtrack that Dan Stevens listens to. And like I said, the score sounded like almost like a mix between something from The Guest, the movie, and Stranger Things. Like that 80s science synthetic tone to it. My negatives. I think even though I do like the human characters, and I think I like how they kept it only like 3 or 4 characters, we spend a lot of time in this movie with the human characters. I did not expect to be so involved with the humans in this movie. I thought we got past that by now. Like, it's like watching a Transformers movie, and we spend so much time with the human characters that we're like, we're here to see Transformers, not the humans. I mean, hey, if you want to give me more Megan Fox, go right ahead. But I'm here to see Transformers. That's how I feel in this movie too. Even though we do get a lot of Kong and his story, we still spend a lot of time with the humans. Very little Godzilla in this movie. I am very shocked that they even called this a Kong or a Godzilla X Kong movie, because it should really be a Kong X Godzilla movie. Because there's very little Godzilla in this film. In fact, it really isn't until the third act of this film till we actually see Godzilla doing anything substantial. So I think that was a major disappointment. Not enough Godzilla in a Godzilla Kong movie. Also, the villain, the Scar King, the villain in this film, they wait a very long time to finally introduce this villain. I would say a good hour plus of this movie goes by till we see the villain. And yes, at the beginning when we are first introduced to him, he's menacing, he's threatening, he's a presence. But I would actually say when we get into like the third act of the final battle, he doesn't impress me that much. Overall, this is a fun, dumb, entertaining blockbuster. You go into this movie, you leave your brain at the door, and you just go along for the 2-hour fun ride. And for that, I would at least give this a 4 out of 5. For what it is. Now, understand, for what this movie is, it's a fun, dumb, entertaining, popcorn ride. That's it. Did you see the new Godzilla X Kong now in theaters? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. Matt the Bat here.